Welcome, everybody, to the Township of Muskoka Lakes, particularly to the town of Port Carling, which, as we all know, is called the Hub of the Lakes. I'm glad to have so many people here, so many people who were responsible for the response almost a year ago to the ice storm that we all endured. We have a fairly tight agenda, and so I'm the only one who's allowed to talk a lot, but I'm going to keep it really brief. You know, when you go through something, actually, by the way, tomorrow is the vernal equinox. Tomorrow is the first day of spring. Traditionally, the day that most of us who live here think the worst is behind us. And last year, we missed by a couple of weeks. We had the ice storm, I think it was 28th and 29th, or the 29th and the 30th of March. And as all of you know who were immersed in the response, it was a huge challenge and a huge and a devastating blow for everybody engaged and involved in it. I just want to say one quick thing. You know, when you go through something like this, the good news is you get to test some of your theories on emergency response and your emergency response plan, on the assets that you have decked against, both human resource and otherwise, decked against emergency response, and test and make sure that the theory you carried forward stood up to the challenge of a real event. And I'm sure every other jurisdiction involved, whether it's the province, whether it's the district, or one of the four lower tier municipalities, is going through or has gone through that same exercise. The one thing that wasn't built into the emergency response plan, which was particularly engaging and absolutely a joy for me, was to see how we all came together to work collaboratively and cooperatively to share assets, to share information, to share simple resources like water and food. And it started right from the provincial government. Minister Smith called me, I believe, every single day. I frankly wasn't writing it down. And simple question, what do you need? What can we do to help? District Chair Lehman and his resources from paramedics right through their public works department were a tremendous resource. We shared resources with, I think, Bracebridge, Gravenhurst on an as-needed basis. We got lots of great help from the Ontario Provincial Police. There were a lot of OPP officers in the township of Muskoka Lakes who took it upon themselves to find their way around live downed power lines on private and seasonally maintained roads, just to do wellness checks on doors, knock on doors and check on people. Hydro One, everybody. Seguin Township, not even a part of our district, but Mayor Ann McDermott stepped up and delivered some public works crews to help out. So that wasn't part of the plan, but it came together seamlessly. I think we can all learn from it and take comfort from it and perhaps build it into our plan for God help us, the next time this comes. All right, I have a simple task, and that is to introduce our Member of Provincial Parliament, Graydon Smith, who also serves as the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, and for a long time was the Mayor of Bracebridge, and he has some words to share with us as well. So, Graydon, welcome.
Thank you. Do a little dance here. Well, thanks very much, Mayor Kelly. It's great to be here today. Great to be in Port Carling, in the township of Muskoka Lakes. Great to be here with so many first responders. Off camera are the people that make magic happen when somebody picks up the phone and says, I need help. I just want to thank you very much, all of you, for the service to your communities. And as the mayor mentioned, how you work together in times of widespread need and crisis. And our chief of paramedics is here today too from Muskoka. Chief, thank you. It's great to have you here. And so many others from the municipal sphere that, you know, everybody had to come together when we saw the ice storm last year. It was an unprecedented event, as the mayor mentioned. Just when we thought we were done with it, it pulled us back in. It was a little Godfather-esque in terms of what happened last winter. We started with a lot of snow. I was pleased to join Mayor Lorenz last week in Gravenhurst with some funding to help with expenses around that storm. We ended with an ice storm. Frankly, if anybody remembers, in between wasn't all that great either. It wasn't a winter that we'll all fondly look back and remember. But it was one that we'll look back on and say, again, thank goodness that we've got so many people that are able to respond when we need them to respond. And thank goodness that we can all work together for the betterment of our community. We know that the ice storm, of course, caused widespread power outages. It damaged home, it damaged infrastructure, disrupted daily life for families and businesses across the region. The schools were closed, the buses weren't running, residents were without power for days. I had an opportunity shortly after the ice storm. We had a brand new minister. The Minister of Emergency Preparedness is my good friend Jill Dunlop from one riding away. And she was thrust into a very difficult situation very quickly, but very graciously found time when her own riding had been severely affected to come up and tour our riding. And we saw a number of points in Muskoka that day, especially in rural areas. Roads that we went down that we needed a guide to get down them to make sure that we were going to make it out the other side, because the damage was just so widespread, so many downed trees, so many downed power lines. Obviously, workers from Hydro One and Lakeland and Alexicon all out there doing their part as well. But it really highlighted how dangerous a time it was as well. So I'm very glad that we were able to look after one another during a time when, again, we needed to come together. But when we have situations like this, we know that they're also expensive, that there is a cost that is borne by the municipalities for the work that they're doing to help keep people safe, which is why I'm pleased to announce that our government will be providing up to $2.7 million in provincial support for municipalities across South Muskoka through Ontario's Municipal Ice Storm Assistance program.
Hear, hear.
This funding will further help municipalities recover from the cost of emergency response, debris cleanup, repairs to infrastructure following that devastating storm. And it helps make sure those unexpected costs don't fall on local taxpayers. To break down the numbers by community, Bracebridge will be receiving up to $348,000, Gravenhurst up to $243,000, Muskoka Lakes up to $847,000, Georgian Bay up to $15,000, and the District Municipality of Muskoka up to $1.24 million through this program. This storm impacted nearly 400,000 homes and businesses across Ontario that were left without power and with a severe cleanup ahead. Across the province, we're providing up to $90 million for municipalities to help recover from this storm. We're also making up to $5 million available for small businesses, farms, and nonprofit organizations that have had to deal with storm-related cleanup and repair costs that weren't covered by insurance. When storms hit communities like ours, people expect their government to step up and make sure that municipalities have the support that they need to recover. And that's exactly what this funding is about. It's about helping communities respond, rebuild, and recover, and to protect our communities so they can move forward, we can move forward together. So thank you very much. It's an honor to be able to announce this support for municipalities today. And now I'd like to introduce the chair of the District of Muskoka, Mr. Jeff Lehman.
Minister, thank you so much. I'm sure we all remember that night, and just as Minister Smith said, this sort of came in two waves over with a little bit of respite in the middle. But that second night especially, the sound of branches crashing down in our yards, in our communities, and you just knew, even without seeing it, just hearing it, how serious an event this was. When we got up the next morning, the district road network was blocked all over the place. There were limbs down on wires, limbs down on equipment, limbs preventing access to, in some cases, our critical facilities or our housing facilities, and all of that was emergent. And so, one of the amazing things about municipalities in the case of natural disasters is the speed with which they provide mutual aid. And Mayor Kelly mentioned some of those, and Minister, of course, mentioned that we saw hydro trucks from across the province eventually within a few days, and after several days from all over the province. We had help from local municipalities, but today's announcement is so significant because it is saying, the province is saying, we've got your back even on the toughest days. And as we've seen, as you referenced, Minister, last winter we bookended it with states of emergency here in Muskoka, weather-driven. We are seeing it more often. And to know that the provincial government is there to support our residents, to support our taxpayers with funding to compensate when something like this happens is a great feeling, and should residents of Muskoka should know that the province has had their back in this very difficult circumstance. In our case, a lot of the extra expenses went to dealing with all of those downed branches and trees. If anybody wants wood chips, we've got them at the Rosewarne landfill. We've still got them. Just a massive exercise. We used our transfer stations initially, and then dump trucks full of chipped wood and brush that was brought and processed just to get the roads open again, let alone to help people clean up their yards and their public spaces and their communities. But another really significant piece of what this funding is helping with is the emergency fuel purchases. And that goes for everything from diesel for the generators at water pumps and water plants to our first responders equipment and our own facilities, backup generators, because this was an extended emergency, one where the power outage lasted longer than the fuel tanks in a lot of our generators, and that was a particularly expensive emergency situation, and not one that we can allow to lapse. So it's very much appreciated, Minister. Thank you very much for, as always, protecting Muskoka and having our backs. And with that, I'll introduce Mayor Heidi Lorenz from the town of Graydon.
Thank you very much. I'm delighted to be here today with my fellow colleagues from across Muskoka. Having gone through a significant snowfall event in late 2024 and then the ice storm event in early spring of 2025, it is great to know I have such tremendous support and friendship from my fellow heads of council. No matter what problems we deal with here in Muskoka, I know I can pick up the phone and call one of my fellow mayors or the chair to discuss what we're going through, and we support one another. That same sense of backing applies to our MPP, the Associate Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, Graydon Smith. Graydon is a true friend and has our back in Muskoka. In Gravenhurst, we've been able to count on him during the big snow dump we had and during the ice storm. Just last week, Graydon was in Gravenhurst to announce funding to offset our costs from the significant weather, and today it's ice storm related funding that has brought us all together. We are truly grateful, so thank you. On behalf of our council and staff in Gravenhurst, I want to thank the province of Ontario for being there during these awful, they're pretty awful events, and for the substantial financial help. In terms of the ice storm funding, this money will help us cover the expenses we incurred, restoring our parks, reopening our roads, getting our trails operational, cleaning up our cemeteries, and securing specialized equipment we needed to tackle these jobs. I was talking with our infrastructure fella, Andrew Stacey, the other day, and he recalled how diligently and tirelessly his team worked in the aftermath of the ice storm. But he also noted the important role, which we've heard about, of the contractors played in getting us back to normal, along with the staff at Alexicon and Hydro One and District. And of course, our emergency responders. You play a huge part in an emergency, obviously, I mean, hence the title. But we can't do it without you. So thank you to all of you who put on a uniform and serve your communities. In a nutshell, it was a team effort and including great provincial support. And so simply, thank you. Oh, I'm supposed to introduce my friend and seatmate, Rick Maloney of Bracebridge.
Well, thank you very much, Mayor Lorenz. And first of all, let me say absolutely thank you, Minister, and your government for the support that you're providing to offset the costs that we have incurred through that storm of 2025. And you know, it's much more than the check presentation, if you want to call it that. This is all about the support that we as leaders have felt that we've had from our MPP minister, your colleague, Minister Dunlop, who took time to visit us in Bracebridge and find out right at ground level what the challenges were and what we were having. And when we expressed those challenges to you and to Minister Dunlop, there was quick action on your parts to assist in resolving those challenges. And that comes, Minister, as you draw on your own experience as a mayor who has guided a community through 2 declared emergencies in 2013 and 2019. And we absolutely appreciate your support, your government's support in when we have these instances that cause communities to basically get crippled to its knees in terms of where it's going. I'd be remiss if I didn't take an opportunity to thank our emergency services, paramedics, our fire departments. You know, we're operating our fire departments with volunteers, and in many cases, our volunteers had their own challenges in their own backyards, in their own front yards, with their own families. But they were out there. We were doing wellness checks on community members. They were doing yeoman's work to make sure that our community was safe, first of all safe, and then secondly had that point of contact. And I know that the work that our fire department in Bracebridge did was absolutely phenomenal. And the other kind of unsung heroes is the community. You know, people who checked on their neighbors, who without ask or demand were out there volunteering to assist people to navigate through the storm. So at the end of the day, as Mayor Kelly pointed out, this was a community effort. This was an effort by everyone, hands on deck, to make sure that your next door neighbor, your friend, your family member, the person you may not even know, was safe and in good stead. So we'd like to think that these experiences build us better communities. They do. They build us a little bit more resilience. They do. But quite frankly, we don't wish them on anyone. And I guess as was discussed with a colleague earlier this week, we're kind of in that new normal where we're probably going to expect more of these types of weather-related events. And it's through the cooperation, collaboration, and teamwork of not just a municipality, but a community, in this case Muskoka, and more broadly with the province, that really help us get through these challenges. So again, Minister, thank you for your support. Thank your government, the Premier, for the support that we've received today. And we look forward to an opportunity where we can maybe thank Minister Dunlop in person as well. Thank you. I guess I did, like my colleague, I didn't follow the notes too well. But I would like to introduce Mayor Peter Kutsier from the Township of Georgian Bay. Mayor.
Thank you very much. I'm not sure you had to introduce me because most of what I wanted to say you've already said, but that's okay. I mean, I could just say ditto. But I want to express our great appreciation for the support from the province and from the town, the district, because they were also very supportive. all the first responders and everybody and all the neighbors. But I think what's really important to me to note, as you did, Mayor Maloney, is that our residents, how resilient and strong they were, how helpful they were, how many of them didn't ask for help. And that's really helps everybody else, including us, when all the neighbors who did not need the help or didn't ask for it because they figured, this is overwhelming. If I can take care of myself, I've actually helped the community. And I want to thank everybody who helped in their way, whether it's just taking care of their own place or their neighbors, as you mentioned. And so I think it's fantastic. You know, climate change is upon us, whether you want to admit it or not. We're going to get more of these events, and the more we can share amongst ourselves, it's like a built-in insurance system. You know, our community got hit hard during the ice storm. Other communities will get hit hard in future storms, and we won't need the help, but they will. And I appreciate the province sort of sharing the grief around, so it evens it out. So I just want to say thank you very much for that, and thank you very much to the province, the district, and for everybody else saying everything else that I was going to say. And I think, though, one of my jobs is to introduce the other Peter Kay up here, Mayor Kelly, because I think you're following me.
I am.
So at
Thank
least
you.
I did that part of my job.
You got it, nailed it. Thank you very much. Okay, I've heard a lot of what I already wanted to say, so I'll keep it real tight. I too want to add to the thanks to the provincial government, to our MPP, Graydon Smith, to the rest of cabinet, the premier, anyone who had a hand in this support that we hear about today. One of the nice benefits, and I measured, I could feel this happening during the ice storm recovery. Everybody, all of our citizens were in pretty good nick and pretty good mood for about 2 days. Then they turned on us. So, not really, but you could tell that the psychology started to break down. Having a provincial government, having, frankly, I think an MPP who has served as the mayor of a large municipality, puts us at a tremendous advantage. You know how to respond. The phone calls that you gave to me were tremendously comforting. I'm glad that the news of this will get out in the community, because it feels like a bit of an insurance policy. The next time we face a calamity like this, we know that someone has our back. We know that someone will take care of any of the things that we need, that we can't provide for ourselves, and ultimately help in the cost of the cleanup and the repair. So thank you very much, Minister Smith. I appreciate it. Unless anybody else has anything to say, that ends our remarks. We will be available for, I think, the next half hour or so if anybody wants to ask any questions or take any photos. And to the extent that your time with us is finished here, thank you for attending. Safe travels back to your home. Thank you very much.